Hello everyone. We're going to be looking at how to evaluate functions using various things like tables, graphs, equations. And this is the Quizizz 2.2 activity. So I'm going to be going over these questions and follow along. Now, for this first one, it says f of 5. Now remember, what's ever in parentheses is the input. And our input is always the x, right? So this is essentially saying, hey, when the x is 5, what is y? So we go over to our table, we look for 5, and when x is 5, y is 16. We just looked right next to it and we see that 16. So that's the point, 5 comma 16. When we plug in a 5, we get out a 16. So go ahead and click that button and we'll look at the next one. Now this is saying our f of x is 4. So you plug in some x and you get out a 4. So when we get out a 4, that's our output, our y. What was x? What did we plug in to get out a 4? And of course that is 2. When x is 2, y is 4. So x equals 2 for question 2. This is an example of a mapping. So if we want to find f of -1, remember this is our input. So when we plug in a -1, what do we get out? Well, in the mapping, we literally just follow the arrow. Bloop. When we plug in a -1, we get out a 4. So that point is -1 comma 4 for this relation or function. So we're going to plug in 4. Beautiful. So now, opposite, this is telling us, hey, we got out a 7. What did we plug in to get out a 7? So we look at our outputs, and here we see this number 7. So when we got a 7, we follow that arrow backwards and we plugged in a 2. So when x is 2, we get out a 7. So that coordinate is 2 comma 7. Our x value is 2. Evaluate f of 1. So we go to our graph, and f of 1, remember, when it's in the hold on. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, f of 1, it's in the parentheses, so it's our input. That's our x. So we go to 1 on the x-axis, which is right here. And then we say, okay, well, what's the value of the graph when x is 1? And that's at this point, which is at when x is 1, y is 2. There's the point on the graph. When x is 1, y is 2. So our output is 2. Beautiful. F of -3. So when our input, when our x is -3, which is right here, what does our function equal? So we look at the graph. Hey, what's this point right here? When x is -3, our y is 2. So here's the point, -3, comma 2. Our y value is 2 when x is -3. Halfway through, y'all. So this one, it says, hey, the output is 0. What is the x? That's what we're trying to find. So what x would you plug in to get a y value of 0? So here's our y-axis, and 0 is in the middle. So we're looking for a point that's on the x-axis because that's when y is 0. And we see this point right here. This is 3 comma 0. So when x is 3, y is 0. So when x is a positive 3, our y value, or f of x, or f of 3, is 0. So we're going to plug in 3. Okay. So those were all using a graph. Now we're looking at an equation. So again, if it's in the parentheses, it's our input. That's our x. So wherever we see x, we just put a -2 in its place. So the first thing I like to do is just rewrite it. So f of -2 is x plus 3, or -2 plus 3. So what is -2 plus 3? That's a positive 1. Boom. -2 plus 3 is a positive 1. So when you plug in a -2, we get out a 1. Here's the next one. Our input is in the parentheses, so that's a -8. So we're plugging that in for x. So instead of f of x equals x squared, we're going to say f of -8 is -8 squared. F of -8, that's just the name of the function and what we plugged in. And we're going to figure out what that equals by doing -8 times -8, or -8 squared, which is a positive 64. -8 times -8 is 64. Brilliant. Okay, for this one, our input is -3. So everywhere where we see an x, put a -3. So we have -2 times x squared. I love to plug in using parentheses so I don't mess up with a sign or order of operations. Order of operation tells us to do this exponent first, right? Exponent comes before multiplying. So we have -2 times -3 squared. This is -3 times -3, which gets us positive 9. And then we multiply. -2 times positive 9 is going to get us a -18. Beautiful. I think we have 2 left here. Y'all are doing great. 3 is in the parentheses, so that is our input. So we started with f of x equals 2x plus 1. But now instead of an x, we're putting a 3. So f of 3 is 2 times 3 plus 1. Order of operation tells us to do multiplying first. 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 plus 1 gets us 7. So when we plug in a 3, we get out a 7. Input, output. Beautiful. Whoa. I'll fix that. Don't worry. Okay, last one. We have an input of 2. And we're plugging in a 2 for x. So we start with our original equation. That's how I like to do it. Just write that original equation first. And then wherever you see an x, put a 2 instead. We're substituting in that number 2. Beautiful. 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. Minus 4 times 2 plus 4. Then we'll do our multiplication. 4 times 2 is 8. So we have 4 minus 8 plus 4. 4 minus 8 is a -4. Plus 4 is 0. So our final answer for question 12 is 0. Beautiful. Oh, this is my redemption question, but it's still marked wrong. I'm going to fix this, so don't worry about this coming up again. Beautiful. Well, friends, that is the end of the Quizizz activity. So once you're all set, make sure you are submitting it into Schoology, okay? And I will see you in the next activity. And remember, you can always send me an email, reach out to me if you have any questions. If you need help, come to me. We can meet and we can work on stuff together. So I'm always available for support, okay? So let me know. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye, friends.